Okay, so I want to go over this. I don't shoot this that much. I don't have it out much, and this is the first time I've ever done anything on video with this. But this is one of those Charles Daly 601 DPS. So this was the Charles Daly ripoff of the Benelli M4. And I just want to go over how it's set up. Maybe there's people out there who want to maybe do something like this, and maybe this helps them. So we'll start from the back. This is a collapsing stock. And to be frank, I forget really who makes this. But if you do the search, you'll see them out there. This is the limb saver for the Benelli M4, and the paint job's just an airbrush until I can get around to getting it dipped, like everything else. Up on top here is the bow-tack, whatever, however they say it, for the Aimpoint Micro. I have a hollow sun mounted to it. So really slick little rail, and the price was pretty good on it. I Cerakoted mine. I can't remember who makes these, but these are the removable side saddles. And you just pull that off, stick a new one on. They seem okay, but again, I've never used it like in a shooting class. I've never put any of this under stress. I've never used this gun under stress, just kind of go out messing around. Terran Tactical selector here. And I do have a Terran Tactical recoil spring. I've got the hammer spring, the Terran Tactical hammer spring, but it was too light and I was getting light primer strikes. It wasn't reliable. So speaking of the bolt, I did sort of like a Terran Tactical millwork here. Did my own Terran Tactical, I believe, Terran Tactical bolt handle. Now, after I did the millwork on the bolt, I polished this bolt and I sent the bolt out for DLC. So there's DLC on that bolt, as well as the lifter has been DLC'd as well. The lifter, I believe I extended the lifter a little bit and DLC'd that. So, very smooth. Now, originally I had drilled and tapped the bolt release, and I had a really nice pad for it that I made out of titanium. But eventually, after using it, the actual the button had come unwelded from the claw inside. So I had to get a new one from Charles Daly, and I've yet to drill and tap this one and do the mod. Moving forward, Agency Arms Benelli M4 Handguard. It fit fine. I thought it was causing me issues, but it turns out it was not. The issue was that my pistons needed some oil inside. And they were getting sort of stuck moving back and forth. So once I cleaned them up and oiled them, stuck them back in, so far, and I haven't fired a lot, maybe a box of shells, I haven't had any issues. And if you remember the video I did The oil that I run on those pistons is that ballistol Gunser with the ceramic, because the piston area gets hot and that leaves the ceramic behind. So moving forward, I do have a Benelli 5-round tube on this because it is an SBS, short barrel shotgun. I've got a Benelli 5-round tube, factory Benelli tube. And when I cut the barrel, I think I went to 4D reamers. And I got a reamer and I got a tap. And I have threaded this for chokes. So I don't know if the camera will focus on that, but you can see the choke tube in there. So this is threaded for chokes. Really cool. And so yeah, that is my Charles Daly 601 DPS. This is also a factory Benelli iron metal rear sight. The 601 comes with a polymer, and so when you put these in, you should red Loctite them because the oil gets to them in the solvents and they will vibrate loose if you don't. Same with these up here, only I did blue Loctite, I believe. That's that. That is the parts rundown of my 601. If I didn't tell you it was Benelli, it's still a factory Charles Daly. So the pistons, the bolt itself internally, everything about the bolt except the handle is still Charles Daly. The recoil spring, like I told you, Terran Tactical. Outside of getting this dipped, I would like to possibly get the barrel ported somewhere along here. And I've thought about Magnaport. I've thought about Vang, but I don't think Vang will do them. He wants you to get the whole Vang system in the barrel. Since I've threaded this for chokes, I don't think he'll do it. Yeah, it's a really good gun. I mean, I patterned it before I cut it and after, and you do lose some distance, but I'm using Rio number 4 buck is what I have this whole thing sort of tuned to, and it does all right out to about number 4 buck out to about I wouldn't trust it past really about 33 yards, 36 yards, give or take. However, with that being said, the slugs that I run in this are, oh, what are they? They are federal reduced recoil. They're right on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of them right now. True Ball. Federal True Ball slugs. I've got the law enforcement reduced recoil. And this thing, even at SBS 14, I think this is 14 or 14 and a half inch entry. Even at that 14 inch, it gives me amazing accuracy at 50 yards. I've never went further than that, but this is, I mean, for what it is, I mean, this thing is extremely nice and short. I need to get a light. I need to get a grip. I just don't mess with it enough. But man, it's really nice. I just wish I could get another pad, get this drilled and tapped for a pad. My love for this goes in and out. So some days, some weeks, I'm so hot for this thing. And I want to do all these mods, but then the next week comes, payday comes, and I'm like, fuck that thing. I'd like to get the pistons out, get them sandblasted, send them off for titanium nitride. And I was really hardcore about getting some sort of system to polish this bore to like a super mirror finish. And then after going hardcore for about 2 months trying to figure out how to polish it, and I got 4/0 steel wool, and I got mother's mag in aluminum, and I got a wooden dowel that I cut a slot in. I put the steel wool in, I coated it with the mother's mag. I took the wooden dowel, put it on a cordless drill, and man, I worked this barrel over. And it just never really came out the way I wanted it to. It just wasn't as mirror chromed. Another thing that I would really like to do is lengthen the forcing cone. I know that's very controversial, but I did it to a Mossberg 930, and a lengthened forcing cone really reduced recoil. I really noticed a difference. Even with the Limb Saver butt pad, I mean, that 930 was decked out, and when I got it back from a forcing cone lengthening, and I've thought about going to 4D Reamers and renting their tool to lengthen the forcing cone on my own, and that's absolutely an option sometime to do that, to get a custom reamer and do that. And then go back to the quad-aught steel wool and really sort of polish any tool marks that it may leave. That's all an option. With that being said, I know here's another big question. You know, you're going to ask me, have you had any reliability issues out of it? I absolutely have not, minus letting the pistons go dry, because I didn't shoot it for, or even pick it up for about a year. And they were dry, they were stuck. And what would happen was they would not go, when the bolt would come forward, it wouldn't push them out of the way. They were stuck, and it would leave the bolt out of battery. So I would shoot one round and the next round click. Then I would, fuck with it a little bit, shoot one round, click. But I got it, like I said, I got everything cleaned up, got them lubricated, and they run just fine now. They run just fine. Hence the reason for the nitride. Maybe the nitride I won't have to use any oil. But yeah, I mean, for the money I paid, $500, and the $500, and I think the rail was give or take, I think it was like $250, $275, and then I believe this was $180 for this buttstock thing. Man, and then I think I've got $500 in the gun, outside of the reamers and all that stuff, to thread it for chokes. This is a fantastic gun. It really is. I mean, it's so nice. My brother bought one, so we each have one, and it's just reliable as fuck. Now, with that being said, I haven't taken it to a class. I haven't shot it out in the wintertime. But the little bit I have shot it, every time I take it out, it just works. So I'll get some, I'll have the B-roll footage at the beginning of this video. You see, it just shoots. With lengthening the forcing cone and possibly porting it, and you've seen this in the footage at the beginning here, it still does have a little bit of recoil. It's the same as when it was in its factory configuration. It's just always had a little bit of heavier recoil, but man, with that red dot on there and being short, I mean, it's just like, it's so easy to point this gun. It's just so maneuverable, Man, there's just nothing I have to say negative about this gun as far as, you know, collapse it down really short, throw it in your truck. I mean, look at how short that is. You know, you can, with armor or a chest rig on, you can really get that gun, you know. It's not like Kel-Tec KSG short, and or any of that. Now, here's another thing. At the time, why didn't I go with the Benelli stock, factory stock? Because at the time, all Benelli parts were super hard to get, especially the stocks. I remember getting a M4 stock for my buddy. They were like, with the tube, I found them for like $230, $300. And that was many years ago. But 2 years ago, I think, maybe 3 years ago when I got this, you couldn't get a stock for less than $800, $900. I see they've come down now, but I mean, to be honest with you, I sort of like that AR. You know, it's really quick. There's none of this hitting the button, turning it, you know, any of that wacky shit. I really don't have a problem out of it. I mean, that stock, especially with that pad, man. Anyway, that's sort of my thoughts. I mean, you know, my thoughts, my opinion on this gun. I've got really nothing negative to say except, and this was back then, getting parts from Charles Daly has been a pain in the ass. So I would, even though they cost more, it's much easier to find replacement parts for the Benelli, such as, I believe it's the firing pin retaining pin. It takes an O-ring. Getting those O-rings is a pain in the ass from Charles Daly, so I eventually sourced them through McMaster Carr. However, with that being said, I really don't know why you need one, but take things like the firing pin, and other just little different retaining pins for this bolt. It's a fucking pain in the ass. Replacement barrel if you wanted the Charles Daly replacement barrel, because I did think about having both a 14 and an 18, and getting a new barrel is impossible, so you'd have to probably go to Benelli on that as well. But outside of that, mine has the polymer trigger guard, and the polymer, I guess you should say, trigger housing and everything. I have thought about upgrading to aluminum, and I had a chance one time, but I don't know, it don't matter. So here's something else that I want to go over with you. It's a modification that I did, and I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but you see how I've sort of I've tapered this down, and then up here I've ramped it up, and then I've rounded all this out in the, it's not the mag well, I don't guess you're calling it, but in the mouth here I've rounded it all out, I've beveled it out, I've cut it way back. I mean, it's absolutely really nice for your quad loads and all that. So for the price, and then if you want to do like all this heavy modifying and all this different stuff yourself, I mean, dude, what a gun. I'm not a big shotgunner, even though I've done all this. You think, man, I'm a big shotgunner. I'm not. But every time I get rid of a shotgun, I always think my collection's not complete without a shotgun. This is a shotgun I could not sell. I could not get rid of this, especially after I get it all dipped and it comes out looking really, really cool in the multicam. Yeah, I could never get rid of this. This thing is so cool. Really, really, just a great shotgun. Well, I've rambled on 20 minutes, so that's the shotgun. If you got any questions, put them down there. I'll see if I can answer them. And I got to get this thing out more and shoot it. So hopefully we see it in some more videos, and hopefully maybe there's a shotgun class coming up in my area. I'd like to get this thing in that class and just see how it shakes down. All right, guys. Hey, we'll catch you in the next one.